Great. So if everyone is ready, let's get started. By the end of this 30-minute webinar, you'll know exactly what talent crowdsourcing is and how it can be deployed to enable your company to hire the best candidates quickly. You'll also take away benefits of using a talent crowdsourcing platform as a vendor and also as a talent crowdsourcing platform for agency management. You will be able to make a very highly informed decision on how to deploy talent crowdsourcing within your company. This will help cut your time to hire by 50% or more. But first, I think I need to go into some background and share some information with you. So let's talk about crowdsourcing and how it can be applied to recruitment and talent acquisition. Now, there is a lot of social science research being done around crowdsourcing at universities like Northeastern, where a gentleman by the name of Jeff Howe actually coined the term crowdsourcing. Other schools like Harvard, Stanford, and MIT are involved as well. But I want to get deeper into this, so let's continue. At the core of crowdsourcing is a lean organization, speed, efficiency, and above all, quality. You know, we've been trained to believe in a small group of experts, and quite frankly, for certain things, this is very valuable. However, crowdsourcing certain things like I don't know, double bypass surgery, for example, doesn't make much sense, unless, of course, you're watching Grey's Anatomy. But like everything else in life, using a small group of experts has certain benefits and certain costs. You see, experts run the risk of tunnel vision. You're applying a single method of solution to solve an actual problem. You're not really working efficiently here. If an expert provides a good solution, there's a good chance that they're probably not doing it quickly. Now, a gentleman by the name of Martin Schreier at the Vienna School of Business and Economics and Marianne Poets at Copenhagen School of Business actually found something here that may sound pretty counterintuitive at first, but it does make a lot of sense once you understand what's going on around. See, what they found was that a small group of engineers and designers and marketers could not compete with a crowd of users in building a good product. The crowd almost always came out on top. So the question is, why does crowdsourcing work? Well, you see, in crowdsourcing, contributions are challenged. You know, lessons are learned and ideas will come together. You're not reviewing solutions. You are actually reviewing solutions that you would otherwise not have imagined. Get so excited here. So we understand why crowdsourcing is so important, but don't you think we need to figure out how it works? And I think that's important. So let's start with the basic definition of what is a crowd? A crowd is a large and diverse or heterogeneous group of people. You build a crowd using something called an open call. Now, think of an open casting call for a movie or TV role or show. That's basically an open call as well. An open call does not limit the people who are entering the group. Everybody is welcome. What's really cool is that each characteristic of a crowd, heterogeneous, large, employing an open call, they all work together. So for example, you can't really have a large, diverse group of people if you limit the members. In a way, the ultimate objective when building a crowd is, of course, to get as diverse a group of people as possible. To do this, the group has to be large, and for the group to be large, an open call must be used. Think that big fishing net out in the sea. Now, is crowdsourcing simply using a crowd to do something? Of course it is. You know, crowdsourcing is a form of co-creation that leverages collective intelligence. Now, there are a few key words here that I just mentioned, co-creation and collective intelligence. Now, co-creation is the process when an organization works with outside participants to create something. There is an organization-participant relationship. Now, collective intelligence, though, is this idea that a group of people can produce something when they're working together or in competition with one another. You see, you bring these two ideas together and you get crowdsourcing. An organization builds a community of participants, and those participants either collaborate with one another or they'll compete with one another. The organization and the participants work together to do something, whether that means to create and build or to search and find. There are a lot of ways we can crowdsource. Simple way to think about the types of crowdsourcing is by looking at crowdsourcing simply as any use of the crowd. Now, Jeff Howe, the professor at Northeastern, who I originally mentioned, coined the term crowdsourcing, built a certain way of thinking about crowdsourcing. As we mentioned in the earlier slide, the crowd is a large and diverse group of people brought together by an open call. You see, Howe says that you can use a group to do some of the following. You can gather knowledge, and we call that crowd wisdom. To build something, you call that crowd creation. To predict something, I think it's called crowd voting. And the one we're probably most familiar with, to raise money, you call it crowdfunding, something like GoFundMe as an example. So as we mentioned, crowdsourcing is a very open process. Anyone and everyone can join. However, we can divide the types of crowdsourcing based on what an organization actually does with the crowd's contributions. One way is if all contributions are collected and the organization does something with them, that organization is doing integrative crowdsourcing. There is no filtering process here. Now, this is done mostly in areas of research, for instance, such as in the pharmaceutical and medical areas, as well as market research. Another way is selective crowdsourcing. Selective crowdsourcing employs some form of filtering or vetting as a quality check. So sites like Wikipedia, for example, does this by verifying and fact checking every contribution submitted. So I've mentioned so far, and we've talked about crowdsourcing, but we're here to talk about recruiting. So without further ado, let's get right into talent crowdsourcing. Now, talent crowdsourcing is crowdsourcing applied to talent acquisition, particularly recruitment. Simply put, the crowd itself submits candidates to the employers. So does crowdsourcing work to hire top talent? We found that recruitment is the perfect application of crowdsourcing. Talent crowdsourcing is a form of selective crowdsourcing. You build a specialized crowd of professional recruiters and agencies using the open call. Everyone in this recruiting crowd community is allowed to work, but the contributions to the process, in other words, the submission of the candidates, are filtered. So the employer sees only the creme de la creme, the best candidates. Now, there is one question that we get a lot, and that is the following. Is an open solution the best solution for recruiting top talent? Well, in one simple word, absolutely. With closed participation, you are limiting your reach. Recruiting is all about casting as wide a net as possible. You want to access as many potential, highly qualified candidates as possible. That is why you want the job board with the largest user base. You want the largest recruitment agencies that specialize in a broad geographic range across industries and functional roles. And if you're a large company, you're probably already using a large number of agencies. So let's talk about what crowdsourcing experts call governance and contest performance. Today, unfortunately, broadening your reach as an employer makes your organization very bulky, bloated, and can slow it down. And this is where talent crowdsourcing comes in. You see, talent crowdsourcing is all about broadening your reach while ensuring your organization is very lean, quick, efficient, and effective. Now, you can hire more in-house recruiters, but this is expensive. And does it really broaden the reach? You can increase your spend on job boards, but how many resumes does your team have to go through? And how long do you have to wait before you actually start getting the perfect candidates you want to meet? What about passive clients and candidates? Job boards physically cannot provide you with highly qualified professionals who are not actively looking for employment. You see, you begin to solve these problems by working with recruiting agencies. They work with a contingency payment model, so you pay per hire as opposed to paying someone a salary or paying based on resume views. Now, certainly you can broaden your reach with agencies simply by working with more of them. But how do you scale with agencies? How much time and money do you spend managing them? At the end of the day, talent crowdsourcing is able to actually broaden your reach while optimizing for the things like time to hire, cost to hire, and the quality of the hire. As all forms of selective crowdsourcing, talent crowdsourcing has to govern the crowd to ensure the quality of the incoming submissions. So talent crowdsourcing is essentially a contest. It leverages competitive collaborative intelligence, as opposed to a purely collaborative one. Freelance recruiters and agencies are competing to find the best candidate for your organization. So, how do we ensure that the candidates submitted by the crowd are highly qualified and that the whole process, the contest within the crowd to find the perfect candidate, is efficient, quick, and more importantly, effective? Now, talent crowdsourcing has quality checks that occur from outside the crowd. Checks primarily exist on the organizational level. The talent crowdsourcing service provider or the platform certainly will not pass along a candidate to the client unless they meet certain requirements. Now, this is a form of hierarchical governance or the way an organization checks the quality of incoming submissions. However, there are ways that a member of the crowd is able to check his or her own contribution or potential contribution. Every time a candidate is not offered a position, the crowd becomes smarter. Members learn something new about an employer, the team, what they want in an ideal candidate. There is a feedback loop. A member of the crowd submits a candidate. The employer gives feedback about the candidate. The member returns to sourcing to find a better candidate, now armed with better information. Processing thousands of candidates a month, there is room for an algorithm and even machine learning for talent crowdsourcing platforms. Technology can analyze a pool of candidates and, based on the reasons employers are interested in them or not interested in them, that technology can tell us which candidate should be submitted for which specific job. Talent crowdsourcing streamlines the recruiting process and cuts way down on the time to hire. Members of the crowd self-delegate their attention. They know their strengths and weaknesses. They will direct their attention to jobs that they can fill quickly and where there is little competition as possible. Niche recruiters focus on highly specialized jobs. For easier filled jobs, when relocation may not be available, recruiters with a large reach in a particular geography will go to work. Your in-house recruiting team or collection of agencies and vendors can apply only a limited number of methods at a time. They can only do so much. The larger and the diverse crowd can apply more methods in a shorter period of time so that you can hire the candidates that you need quickly. Now, there are two applications of talent crowdsourcing: using a talent crowdsourcing platform as a vendor and using a talent crowdsourcing platform for agency management. Now, you can use a talent crowdsourcing platform as a vendor, okay? Essentially, you add a talent crowdsourcing platform to your recruitment vendor list, and you'll be supplementing your current group of recruitment vendors. Now, using a talent crowdsourcing platform as a vendor, you'll get access to everything from the largest recruiting companies to specialized boutique agencies and freelance recruiters, as well as the private social media networks and the niche job boards. You'll find highly qualified candidates. All candidate submissions, as I mentioned before, are filtered using a multi-level screening process. This way, you as the employer only receive the best candidates. And then rather than managing every vendor that works for you, you'll only work with your talent crowdsourcing platform. That, combined with the fact that talent crowdsourcing platforms, unlike agencies, can integrate with your ATS, which makes talent crowdsourcing the efficient choice. And finally, talent crowdsourcing is a great choice for diversity. By definition, I think we'd all agree that crowds are diverse by nature. This means they are a great tool to recruit and hire diverse candidates. Now, the second way you can use talent crowdsourcing is to bring efficiency and save time managing those agencies. Agency management today is broken, chaotic, and is very time consuming. You have to handle incoming inquiries from agencies, vet those agencies, and manage relationships with agencies that you currently work with, each and every single one-on-one. Not only is this cutting into your time to hire, it is costly, and quite frankly, it is pretty inefficient. I'd like to ask a couple of questions at this point as we reach here in the webinar. My first question: how many external recruitment vendors are you currently using? Your options are right there on the screen. Now, if you're using for agency management, how would you describe your current agency management strategy? Okay, your options are there on the screen right there in front of you. You got 5 to select. I think the results of these questions will be quite interesting. I want to thank everybody for taking a second here to answer those questions and answer the polls that we've put up in front of you. Now, the right talent crowdsourcing platform can help you manage your agencies. You can onboard new agencies and manage a relationship with current agencies. So, how do we do this? Step 1, new and old agencies join the crowd and are managed by the talent crowdsourcing platform itself. Step 2, the crowd submits candidates on the talent crowdsourcing platform. And then lastly, step 3, the talent crowdsourcing platform filters incoming candidates and passes on to you, the creme de la creme, the best of the best. So let's go over benefits using a talent crowdsourcing platform for agency management. So the first one for the benefits of employers, let's talk about this. One point of contact, one platform, and one point of contact, acting as a liaison, so to speak, between both talent acquisition, hiring managers, and our recruiting community. The second benefit, how about saving time managing the vendors? Your talent crowdsourcing platform will manage onboarding, negotiating contracts, and payments. More importantly, you'll be able to focus on hiring candidates, not spend time on vetting recruiters or agencies. The third benefit, analytics and insights. You will be able to access valuable insights and market intelligence. You will also be able to compare vendor performance and analyze spends across business units. And lastly, enhanced compliance. Compliance has become such a key word these days. With this, all vendors will be playing by the same rules. Supports diversity initiatives as well as OFCCP compliance. Now, the next area, let's talk about benefits for agencies, okay? So number 1, you join the crowd, and you join the crowd by being able to access hundreds of jobs with zero overhead. Who doesn't love zero overhead? Now, the next benefit here, you'll save time and money by cutting back on sales and account management resources. Who doesn't love to save money? Next, let's talk about reducing administrative burden. A platform takes care of contracting, invoicing, and payments, which significantly reduces administrative burden for the agencies. And lastly, as I sort of hinted before, make more money. Who doesn't want to make more money? With hundreds of jobs from various employers across the country, platform provides tremendous opportunity for agencies to increase their revenue. Using a talent crowdsourcing platform for agency management is a fair and efficient solution. Both employers and agencies get to work efficiently and effectively. So I have got to ask at this point, what do you think of using a talent crowdsourcing platform for agency management? Before I start fielding some questions, I have one question for you. Would you like to deploy a solution that will bring all of your recruitment agencies under one umbrella? So this way you can manage all of these relationships with just one point of contact. Got 4 choices right there on the screen in front of you. Please answer honestly. At this time, I want to thank everybody for taking time out of their day to attend. Please feel free to type in your questions in the question box on your GoToWebinar panel there on your screen. We'll answer as many as we can on the air, and we'll also answer your questions directly on GoToWebinar. Now, my first question to you, or another question, were we able to meet your expectations? Was there anything that you wanted me to share that we couldn't get into? Just please let us know in the question box. Okay, so I see a few questions popping in, so I'm going to take a second to read them and we'll start answering the questions. So appreciate that. Okay, the first question that I see that I want to answer is the following. We are working with approved vendors for our hiring needs and use an internal recruiting team. Why is a talent crowdsourcing platform? Why use a talent crowdsourcing platform? Well, very simply, by using a talent crowdsourcing platform, you instantly extend your reach to find better candidates in less time. Traditional talent acquisition methods cannot give you the reach of a large community of recruiters. You can also manage your talent acquisition processes efficiently by using a talent crowdsourcing platform as a centralized platform for all of your approved vendors. Thank you for that question. Here's another one that pops up. Who actually refers candidates on the talent crowdsourcing platform? And quite frankly, why do they participate? Another wonderful question. You see, by partnering with the talent crowdsourcing platform, recruiters in the agencies gain access to jobs at some of the best companies across America. Working with the talent crowdsourcing platform, larger recruiting firms can ensure recruiter productivity. Their recruiters will never run out of jobs that need to be filled. An endless supply. How cool is that? Another question, and they keep coming in. Thank you very much. Will I be bombarded with resumes? Well, fortunately, no. You see, with Reflik, for example, we find the right set of recruiters and recruiting firms that will work on your positions. You see, our technology and account manager will filter all incoming submissions based on your exact specs. And quite frankly, as I mentioned earlier in the webinar, recruiters and agencies self-delegate their attention based on their specialization. Thank you. Great question. Here's another great one. Will recruiters or applicants have access to my contact information? Well, great news for you is that we absolutely value your privacy. Your contact information will not be accessible for the platform to recruiters or the candidates. Here's another question. Our company has jobs that are in a unique specialty. And quite frankly, I have a hard time finding the right candidates. How will a talent crowdsourcing platform actually work for me? Great question. A talent crowdsourcing platform's recruiting community is diverse and vibrant. Remember that open call, that casting net. Members specialize in recruiting for all major functional roles and industries across the United States. So to learn more and to get more detail, please email us at info@reflik.com. That's info@reflik.com for more details on some of these questions, and we'll be happy to send you more info. Now, you set up the platform, and the next question asks specifically, how long will it actually take to see results? Well, after your jobs have gone live on the platform, you will begin receiving candidates within, believe it or not, the first 24 to 48 hours. We find that employers start scheduling interviews usually within that first week. So be ready to jot down a busy schedule. Now, what kinds of companies use Reflik? Thank you again for that question, and please keep firing them in. Companies across the United States, across a wide range of industries and of many sizes, use Reflik. They include Fortune 500 companies such as Canon, MGM Resorts, GlaxoSmithKline, Marsh & McLennan, as well as large and high-growth private companies. So please visit our website to learn more. We have case studies right there from various industries available on our website. Well, that's all the questions I have the opportunity to answer here. So I would like to take this opportunity to thank everyone for attending. Greatly appreciate the time you've joined us today out of your schedule. I hope we answered all of your questions either here on air, or please keep firing away in the question box. Those folks monitoring the question box are diligently waiting to answer your question. So If you do have any more questions or want details on anything that I've covered or anything that I've already answered, please send them to info@reflik.com. That's info@reflik.com, just like you see it there in the upper left-hand corner of the slide. Again, thank you so much. Happy Thursday to everybody out there. Thank you for taking the time, and please have a great rest of the day.